we're live and it's not working for my Instagram either because that's the way
This is
technology goes. All right, guys, we are live with an
okay.
unexpected edition of What is Your Story coming on because I wanted to interview SpongeBob SquarePants,
What up, guys? What up? What's going on? What's going on?
also known as Nana Ajman. And for those of you who don't know, Nana happens to be my person in every sense of the word. We are best friends and partners in crime, and we oftentimes make fools of ourselves, and it's a beautiful gift. So,
To be fair, that's like you. That's like 90% you, and then the 10% me now.
nah, that's so not even true. But anyway, the reason we are interviewing you today is because you show up as all different characters on any given day. And I wanted to highlight that for my listening audience, your listening audience, because I believe it's a gift that you truly give the world by showing up unapologetically yourself in whatever way feels right for you.
Yeah.
You give permission for other people to do the same, which is beautiful. Can you talk to me about what inspired you to start dressing up in cosplay, um, and what it means for you?
Well, first and foremost, thank you very much, my love. I appreciate this opportunity to just talk to you about it and just let you know, or whoever's watching, about the cosplay industry. So, wait, the term cosplay basically means dressing up as a character from a movie, video game, or a TV show. So it's just self-expression in a sense. And I'm just grateful to be in part of all this interview right now. So I'm actually really excited.
Well, so for anybody watching, if you guys have questions for Nana, aka car salesman,
Bob?
aka at the moment SpongeBob, but he's been known as many other things, please feel free to click in the comments and I'm happy to have him respond to them. But again, what inspired you to start dressing up?
Oh.
Because when we first met, you showed up on one of our dates as Dora the Explorer.
Okay, so what happened was, as a kid, I remember watching a lot of like TV shows where it's anime stuff, Power Rangers, and I'm like, man, it'd be cool to just be some of those characters, just because it's just funny as heck. And um, I always wore like costumes for Halloween at school and stuff like that, and it was just one of those things to just do because it's just a different thing from the regular, mundane, like get up, wear regular clothes. And I was like, I'll be a character that I want to be today. So it just kind of fostered into dressing up in different personas. And I mean, just to see the smiles and joys on people's faces when they see a character and their head to turn like twice, like what the fuck was that type of thing, you know what I mean? Like it kind of just brings a sense of happiness when you get to be a character that they're like, oh my gosh, like I know that character. So that's why my thing, in all honesty.
So for those out there curious, have you always been confident enough to just show up as your full expression of yourself? And if not, how did you evolve into that person?
Truthfully, I feel like my thing was like I just always wanted to be an individual. So whether I dress up in, Dora the Explorer, which is a female character oriented, you know, cosplay, but how do I put a spin on it to just do it my own way? And the confidence wise, I think it just built over time. You just got to a point where you just didn't care about what people's perceptions of you, and it made you more excited to almost like push the boundaries on certain characters. Like SpongeBob is not buff, I mean, he's a square. Like, bro got no shape. He's literally, well, actually, technically is a shape, but like, you know what I mean? But it's a funny spin to put a buff version of him on it. And working out, it's like, why not give it a shot? And now I'm just trying to alter these characters as cartoons that used to be just basic and just put a little spin onto it. So yeah.
So one thing I know, having been, part of your life for over 4 years now,
Mhm.
is your passion is truly being of service to people. And I mean, you show up that way in your day job, which is selling cars, but I know that quite often when I spend time with you and you're dressed up as a cosplay character,
Yeah.
the enjoyment you get is truly from seeing the joy that you bring to others. I'm curious, what inspires you to lead with such kindness and wanting to help other people?
I mean, first and foremost, like I think my thing is there's a lot of negativity in the world, right? So our mind, we talk about all this all the time. Our minds are trained to think negative, right? How can you shift that into a positive light of anything in general? And you know, cosplay to me, this outfit might look like, oh my gosh, he's like a kid at heart, yada yada yada. And I'm like, dude, like, look at the smiles that it's bringing. Like when you walk past like a group, like we went to what the Big E, right? And I
Yep.
just with SpongeBob and tell me how freaking hilarious, like, having like different demographics of like adults to like children to preteens. Somebody saying that is my Giat reel, which means like,
That was
booty,
hilarious, by the
like, you know
way.
what I mean? Like those moments are what like truly brings a sense of joy in this whole cosplaying thing. And I think more people should cosplay because why not? Like, what else you got to lose? You don't got to prove anything to anyone. And your cosplay is like, I always tell people, cosplaying is almost like the equivalent of like a Super Bowl to an NFL player, right? So you go to a convention and does everybody dressed up? You've worked hard for this. You've dressed up. I mean, you've tailored your outfit to be like, oh, this is my shining moment. To like somebody that just has been working for it. That's their Super Bowl. When you go to cons and stuff like that, that's really their moment to shine. And you might get 800 compliments. You might get two, but at the end of the day, it's your way of just like showcasing your hard work after. It's just like going to a gym. You constantly get there and you start seeing your body changing, developing. It's the work that you put into it, and it's okay to showcase that.
I love that you said that. And it's interesting because there's a beautiful woman that I have known for years. Her name is Lindsay. I won't put her last name out there,
Shout out,
but she
shout out to Lindsay.
showcases the work that she does at the gym and she catches a lot of hate. And you and I have talked about this a lot. Have you caught in hate for putting yourself out there either as a cosplay character and or
Mm,
as a
mm.
like in your fitness element? And if so, how do you navigate that?
I mean, I think there's always going to be people that gonna almost like look at you in a negative light because they're like, oh, that's like, what is he doing? That's childish type of thing.
Yep.
Or like, this person's braggadocious. My thing is, if you bought a new pair of sneakers, per se, you gonna keep that shit in the closet the whole time and be like, oh, I bought it just because I just bought it. No, I'm gonna rock it because I need to wear it before it deteriorates. You know what I mean? It's just like if you work out on your physique and you have a good build, why the heck not show it? You know what I mean? You put in all this time. And it's not even in a like egotistical. It's like you work hard. It's the same thing. It's like if you work hard and you get paid for so much, why not spend it? So I mean, I think there's always been people that are gonna try to like doubt you and be like, oh, yada yada yada. Even with myself, and you know this, babe. You know that like people are like, oh, well, does he take steroids? Does he take pre-workouts? Does he take this? I don't take any of that stuff, but I work out constantly 5, 6 times a week. So it's like the dedication that you put into whatever it is showcasing. Sometimes it might upset people, but that's their issue. It's not your issue at all at the end of the day. So
I love that so much. For anybody watching, there's a couple of you. Feel free to leave any
say hi.
messages. It will display and I'm
Yeah,
happy to share them with Nana.
appreciate it.
Um so of all the cosplay characters you have
Oh, damn it.
dressed up as, which
Yeah,
have been quite a few,
yeah.
do you have a favorite?
Oh man. I feel like Dora was the gateway to like the whole cosplaying community because that was like the OG, like original one. But as of late, it's really been like the SpongeBob is just always hilarious because the idea spawned from literally like one morning I had ordered the Under Armour and I ordered the pants and it came in and I was like, yo, this is like yellow, like SpongeBob yellow. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be funny as hell. So like literally that transpired to SpongeBob. And then I was just sitting there and I kept on seeing Mickey Mouse. So Mickey Mouse has been one of my favorite ones as of late because it's like a character that everybody knows. Like, it's just like SpongeBob. He's a yellow character that everybody knows. Mickey Mouse, staple in Disney allure and things of that nature. And so doing these characters, they've definitely become part of me in a sense of like, I can be Mickey Mouse and be like, oh boy, you know what I mean? Or like SpongeBob where the best fucking fire cook in the game right now, you know what I mean? So these characters are just little by little. I think SpongeBob and Mickey Mouse are definitely my 1 and 2, or 1A or 1B. And then the animes are always like interchangeable with the Killer Bee, the Tengen Uzi, which is awesome. Ren Goku, stuff like that too. So yeah, there's a couple of them. Spider-Man's kind of but yeah.
Miles Morales.
you
Well,
know,
so
yeah.
let me ask you this. Something that I see a lot in
Mhm.
my profession is people compartmentalize their lives. So they may be, one persona at work, and then
Mhm.
they're one persona at home, and then they're one persona at the gym or
Mhm.
whatever. Something that I truly admire and love about you, because it's really how I show up too in the world, is that you don't compartmentalize your life. You just show up unapologetically yourself, whether it and the same wherever you are.
Yeah.
Can you talk about and share any insights that you feel you've gained with the audience about the importance of showing up in whatever way feels right for you
Yeah.
wherever you're at, rather than putting on a persona for different places?
Yeah, so I mean, I get it. So when I'm at work, right, I'm pretty locked in because it's a professional environment. But really behind the scenes, I'm literally doing what I'm doing. Like, the same cracking jokes my coworkers can attest to it. Like literally, like as much as like I'll be in my like Zen moment of like, okay, I gotta get things done. I'm really a goofball at heart. Really is like making videos, content creating. Shout out to Tyler, by the way. So keep doing your thing, Ty. Um,
Tyler Brown,
like
you way go.
I gotta
I
give him credit
agree.
because like literally like we'll sit down and we'll come up with ideas and like, yo, bro, like I'm thinking about this, and then he'll put his input on it, and then that transpires to like a cool little reel that we'll do, later on. But like in all honesty, at the end of the day, I always tell people I'm the same person. It's just that I have different modes that I switch into. Like if I'm really cool with someone, I can easily have a great time. But if I'm not too close to them, it takes a while for people to get to know me. And then they're like, oh shoot, like not as cool. Like one of my recent coworkers, Lulu, hadn't talked to her a day in her life when she first started. But then I found out she loved anime, and I was like, "Oh hell nah! You just opened up some shit right there." And then that's how the bond, because she was like, "Oh shit, am I in trouble?" I'm like, "No, like you like anime, I like anime. You cool as shit in my book." And that bond just built from right there. You know what I mean? Just from a simple like passing conversation. But like end of the day wise, I try to keep it consistent because I can't speak for how others feel for me. I can only just do what makes me happy, and then that can put into the universe of how somebody feels about who I am as a person.
Yeah, I mean, and it speaks volumes, because something that I found very interesting, and the listening audience may be interested to hear this. Nana would always tell me, "Oh, I'm about to go see my second mom, or I'm about to see my grandmother, or
Yeah,
I'm about to see my aunt."
whole bunch
And
of
I
them,
would show up and meet
whole bunch
these
of
people, and these people were white, or or like, and I'm like, "What?"
them.
But
Yo,
really ended up, it transpired because of your genuine nature and just showing up, I think, unafraid, and really through
yeah,
the lens of love, right? Because
yeah,
there's no ulterior motive, whether you're just educating somebody on a car, and if they buy it, great, or
right,
if you're
right,
showing up at as a cosplay character, and
yeah.
you randomly get followed by a person in the grocery store because they're
Oh,
intrigued by
you were
you.
my birthday when we just happened to see the guy that had the dog, and he's like, "Yo, you're rocking the Vegeta outfit," and I was like, "Yeah." That
Yeah,
was
but
cool shit.
your ability to make connections is really
Yeah.
profound.
I mean, you do that on a daily basis though, so you also got to give yourself kudos because I feel like I always tell every one of my friends or whatever, I'm like, my significant other best friend, I can put her in a room not knowing anyone, and she'll leave knowing literally probably like 90% of people in there because that's the energy that you put out there. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the cosplay community. Put me in a con, I'll go solo by myself, and I'll leave there knowing that I've made an impact in a lot of people's lives just because I just brought the happiness and joy. Like somebody coming up and saying, "Hey, I like your cosplay. Can we take a picture?" I'm like, "Of course we can. Like, why not?" Like, it's a moment to freeze in time that you can share and be like, "Oh man, I remember I took a picture with SpongeBob or whatever it is." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right, but I also think that our ability to meet new people stems from self-love.
Correct.
And
Correct.
it goes back to self-confidence earlier, but I'm curious, was there ever a time in your life that you struggled with self-love or didn't feel good about yourself?
Oh, I mean, there definitely was. I mean, when I was younger, right, wearing glasses. Oh, you're a geek, you're a nerd, yada yada yada. The whole basic ass thing. So that took a little growing into because I mean, coming from a whole different country, learning the whole like bullying aspect, but I didn't really take that into consideration until later on. I was like, oh, that was bullying. Like I just thought that was just a way to like just poke fun at someone because they couldn't see or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
then I got to a point where I was just like, I can't really worry about what others think about, who I am as a person. I'm just me. At the end of the day, I feel more comfortable being myself instead of trying to appease somebody else. Like even dyeing my hair, like this is not a regular thing in the community that I'm from, like the Ghanaian community. That's not a go dye hair. It's almost frowned upon. And I'm like, why? It's a hairstyle. I can
Yeah.
shave it off if I wanted to, or what I
Well,
mean.
I'm curious about that though.
Mhm.
How did you find the courage to challenge some of the beliefs that you grew up with based on culture and obviously parental guidance?
Yeah,
Because you obviously at some point had to show up
yeah,
with dyed hair
yeah.
to your mom,
I
at
mean,
least.
my thing was really is I'm gonna do what makes me happy, right? Mom had her life, and she thankfully still living her best life as she should. And I don't have anything to be like, oh, like don't do this. I'm not here to control that. I can control what I want to do, and I'm obviously a big anime head, right? So the yellow hair stems from characters like Goku, like Naruto, yellow hair characters that have impacted me. And I just always thought, man, how cool would it be? And they've been playing video games. Like my character had red hair. That's really what actually like transpired it. It was a basketball video game, NBA 2K. Shout out to the people that play 2K. Um, and my character had red braids, and I had red braids at one point. I was like, I want to be like my character in the video game. So that's what transpired to it. And then years later, I'm liking the yellow a lot more. But however I feel, I'm like, oh, you know what, we'll do this color. And you obviously helped me out with it because shout out to you for that.
So what where do you hope to see yourself in a couple years within the cosplay community? Like now that
Mm,
you've kind of stepped into a little bit more of creating and connecting
mhm.
with people who are doing hilarious things
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
community.
so many people.
Do you have any goals that you are striving for or that you hope to achieve within this community?
I mean, my thing is biggest thing that it comes down to is keep inspiring people to be themselves, right? So keep living my truth. And if that brings somebody out of their shell to be like, oh shoot, if Nana's doing that, I can do that too. You know what I mean? And then another thing too, one of the goals that I have in mind is like, I just want to get invited to cons to just bring the energy and the excitement and joy. Like that's all. Like I'm not out here looking for monetary gains or anything like that. Like if I got invited to say Anime Boston and they're just like, hey, like we want to like have you be one of our guests, here's a free pass, like you just do your thing and just like bring joy to the con, that would be worthwhile any monetization or whatnot, because the impact always goes further more than the money. You can make money in a lot of stuff, but the impact always goes so much more because it's just like the car industry. People come in, oh my gosh, I fucking hate car buying because you guys are out to screw me over, yada yada yada. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to educate you so you can make a financial decision. If it's not a smart financial decision, I will tell you not to buy the car. Like,
Yeah.
do not put me that on me. But that's the same thing with the con community. It's like I want to make an impact of like joy and happiness because that's what it should be about. You're expressing yourself in a way that most people don't do, and you're in an area that a lot of people have the same mindset of like, oh man, this is like video games, there's wrestling, there's photography that's involved, there's acting, there's panels, you're getting autographs, you're meeting people that you don't meet on a regular basis at a place that is so open and welcoming. Really, that's what it is.
So, have you ever considered showing up in character for, like, I don't know, birthday cards, or
Oh,
I
shit.
don't know, some way that you can show up to even bring more joy that takes you outside of the con experience? Because I know that you and our nephew went to Gillette Stadium
Oh,
and took
yo.
hundreds of pictures dressed as Patrick and SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Oh, shout out to Austin for that one. That was real stuff. No, I mean, in all honesty, like I think it would be cool as heck if I got to be invited to like even like a hospital, right? Just because like there's younger children that are going through stuff, or even adults that are going through stuff that just need a sense of joy and happiness. That would be cool as heck. Like just be like, yo, like I'm just gonna show up, like or going to a school just because like hey, I'm just me. You know what I mean? I think that would be cool as heck because it's like that within itself can bring that moment of peace and happiness to somebody's life. Even if it's a brief moment, at least it was a moment for them to be like, oh, dude, this dude really dressed up in a SpongeBob fit. Like, and his day job is he sells cars. That's totally different spectrums of like you're in a high pressure field, but then you're doing something that's like a comical, funny, and amusing way to kind of go about it with life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it brings me to the fact that you have spoken at a school before. You're going back to
Correct.
speak at a school
Can't wait.
about car about being a salesman, right?
Yeah.
And yet when you asked if you could show up as a character, they told you no. What were your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
I mean, I understood the magnitude of it because they want to keep it professional. However, at the same time, I'm like, it still kind of takes away the whole like, you know, being in the car industry and still doing the things that I enjoy. So I'll incorporate a form of a SpongeBob outfit type into it. Maybe I'll just rock the hat, or I'll
Or you can just do speaking engagement with me at the girls' school and you can show up as SpongeBob.
let me
But
know.
no, I'm serious.
Let me
It,
know.
in all seriousness, I think that it speaks to the conditioning that
Mhm.
we're still experiencing
Mhm.
within the world
Yep.
that says that you need to show up as a specific way in order to be successful,
Right.
to be uh worthy, to be loved. And so when that was the response, I can't say that I was surprised,
Mhm.
but it kind of, spoke volumes about why you and I need to continue to show up
Yeah.
as our unique individual selves
Yeah.
unapologetically and have these conversations live to hopefully inspire people, whether you're 70, whether
Right.
you're 50,
Correct.
whether you're 14, to show up as themselves.
Right.
And I can wholeheartedly say that the way in which you've showed up in our children's lives for the past
Shout out to Billy and Jules.
4+ years has had a dramatic impact on their ability to give themselves permission to be more themselves
Yeah. Yeah.
than who they think they need to be to make friends or to build community.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you do a great example of just letting the girls know that it's okay to, you know, not like certain things, or venture in certain things, or try something and be like, okay, like this wasn't for me, but I tried it. You know what I mean? That's the foundation that you set with them. I just get to kind of piggyback off that. You know what I mean? I just get to be the cool dad figure. I mean, obviously you're really cool as well, but I get to
They
be
don't think I'm cool. Let's
I get to be the one that's like hip with the lingo and like knows like the TikToks and the Instagram stuff like that. But like you set that foundation, I just get to piggyback off that to kind of like let them know like, hey, like it's okay to be who you want to be and not worry about other people's perception of you.
Right, and I would agree. I mean, I show up, I have a business logo that's a
Correct.
skull, and I'm
Correct.
dressed in skulls and all of that, and yet there's something pretty profound about a really jacked man in a society where men are told to be very masculine, put together,
Mhm.
keep their feelings to themselves,
Absolutely.
dressed up as Dora the Explorer, right? The impact is a little bit different because I'm mama and and so and look at Austin. I think the
Yeah.
gift that you gave Austin is he's what, 12, gonna
Yep.
be 13, and
That's
he
all.
was brave enough to show up as Patrick from SpongeBob at a Patriots game
Yep.
where, so often kids at that age really struggle with their identity,
Yeah.
let alone showing up in an outfit that is completely outside of what typically would be
Yeah.
at a Patriots game.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to your point, first and foremost, nobody's really messing with a buff Dora. Like, let's be honest. Like, if Dora pulls up on you and Bill as fuck, and it just like, obviously not invoking violence, but like, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want problems with that person. You know what I mean? Like, so secondly would be like Austin stepping out of his comfort zone and being like, yo, like if my uncle's gonna dress up as SpongeBob, I want to tag along and dress up as Patrick. That was cool as heck. Cause like literally, I was like, oh, dude, we're gonna make a great tandem. And we brought so much joy and happiness in that place. That was probably the highlight of the game because the Patriots took that L, which they lost. But like, it's cool. That was besides the fact of it. It was just like more the vibe of like we were just walking around and seeing people excited of like what is going on here, and people like, oh shoot, like can we take a picture? And you could see the joy in his face. That's the joy that cosplay community should be about. In all honesty.
Yeah, and I would even venture to say that's the joy that you bring to the gym too.
Mm. Shout out to my gym friends because like yeah, I mean I can see that even today, right? So I had a leg workout with my friend Adam. He literally came up to me. He's like, he actually had texted me earlier in the day and it was like, hey, we still hitting legs? And I was like, oh shoot, I almost forgot. And then I was like, I gotta stick to that commitment because I'd already told him that we were doing that. So we get in, lock in a little bit, and then put in a great workout. Like my legs is literally fried, and his legs are definitely feeling it. He's gonna be feeling it a couple of days from now. But he kept up. The thing is, he didn't give into it. And he was like, "Oh, this is too tough." He was like, "I'm gonna push myself and try to get to wherever I gotta get to because I want to train like you." And I was like, "Oh, I appreciate that." And so as we're leaving, he was saying that he had a rough day at work, and I was like, you know what? I felt a little bit like that when I was coming in here, but I knew that like my mood would shift once I get into the workout, seeing how the people walking around. I ran into a couple of people, and then we just kind of just eased into it. And he left. He's like, "Yo, thank you so much for just like making time and putting me through your workout." And that within itself was just cool. Like it just getting his spirit up there. He texted me saying like, "Thank you for the workout," and I was like, "Bro, just let me know when we're in upper body." So I got you.
Well, so I'm thinking about like you and Caleb
Yep.
and Malcolm
Welcome. Yep.
and just the guys at the gym who again show up. I mean, guys, I'll be working across the gym and I can hear Nana singing
Yo,
some song,
that's bad funny.
dancing while he's about to do a workout.
Yeah.
Um, and so, oh, that's interesting. It's doing some funny
Sorry,
things.
sorry, that was me. I was just testing out. I was just kind of.
Oh
You
no,
good.
go ahead. Do you here? You're the speaker, so we'll put you. We'll put
No,
you.
you're good. You're good. I was like, oh, what is this? Like, you're good. You're good.
I was so perplexed. Welcome to Yanko's world because I generally don't speak this stuff, but I did put hashtag follow Nana on Instagram,
Yeah,
guys.
I appreciate you.
So I don't have his TikTok, otherwise I'd
Mm.
tell you to follow him there, but I'm sure he'll give you that.
It's literally Nana AKO Nas. It's the same thing of everything. But anyhow, that's besides the point. But
So okay, so let's talk about the gym. How did you get inspired to go to the gym? And something you said about the workout today is
Mhm,
that you made a commitment to somebody, and so even though you weren't really wanting to do it, you were gonna go and follow
mhm,
through. And I think
mhm.
that is the determining factor of people who are successful and people who are not is
Mhm.
are you going to follow through on the commitments you make specifically to
Mm,
yourself
mm, mm.
on the days when you don't want to follow through with it over and over and over again?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
how did you get into the commitment of fitness for yourself?
I mean, how I got into the gym really, I always played sports and stuff like that. So basketball
He
was
is disgusting at sports, guys. Every
like
time I try to beat
competitive,
him,
highly
it's
competitive, highly
okay.
competitive. But yeah, one of my friends, Daniel Howell, he actually does powerlifting. So dude's probably 195, lifting 700 pounds just because why not? But he got me into the gym. He was like, hey, like, let's go try working out because we played basketball and soccer and stuff like that in college, just like senior year of college. And I was like, you know what? Let me try this gym thing out. Went for a couple sessions and I was like, this is not bad, actually. I actually truly enjoy it. And then little by little, it fostered that sense of like determination of like getting here, even on colder days in the morning or whatever it is, like just getting to the gym, whether it was working on buys that day or if we were working on triceps or if we are working on quads or legs, like it just kind of created that like dedication of commitment. And accountability is another word that I actually use today, because being accountable of like Adam texting me and saying, hey, like we have like a leg workout, and I was like, oh well, I almost forgot about it. And I'm glad he reached out to me, because that let me know like, okay, when I get out of here, I got to dedicate time to this. And I knew that I also had this interview today, so I had those two. Well, I had the interview on my list, and then I realized that I had booked the leg session with him. So in all honesty, I think the dedication, there's times where like, you wake up and like, oh damn, I could just like be lazy. And yeah, that could be the moment, but like know that you set yourself up to make that arrangement for yourself. Like, you can attest to it. Friday mornings, babe, what is Fridays again, please? What is
Flex Friday.
the Flex Fridays? So you know what I mean? That's like a non-negotiable thing, as Kobe Bryant would say. And there's a poster of Kobe Bryant right here. I'm actually gonna show y'all because he the GOAT right there. But anyhow, the Flex Friday thing is just like a commitment. It's a mentality of like, okay, if I don't get to it in the morning, I definitely got to make sure I get there sometime today, because that's like the one day that like unless if I'm literally like under the weather, I'm there. Like that's a commitment that I have to make for myself, and that has inspired a lot of people. Like our nephew Jai. Shout out to Jai going to the gym, because really it's the foundation of yourself, babe. Because you set him up to say, hey, like let's continuously work out, and then seeing posts of us at the gym or me going there, whatever it is, have him going at 4 a.m. in the morning. You hear that
Yep,
rev of his
he
car, and then
goes
you
at
go,
like 4:45 in the
yep,
morning.
yep.
And he will say, and I'll share, like, I recall him telling you that he didn't want to go to the gym one day, but because you post hashtag
I remember that.
Friday.
Yo, that was cool as shit. I was like, oh man, like that within itself, like that's the impact that people don't realize, that you have so much power that you can give to other people when they have moments of like doubt in themselves. You know what I mean?
Do you ever doubt yourself?
I mean, I think there's definitely like moments of like, like I could have done this better, or I could be better. I mean, and then there's fear of the unknown of like certain things. Like obviously you can attest, my fear of flying has definitely hindered me in visiting certain family members, i.e. my brother, nephews and siblings and stuff like that. But I think having you as a staple reiterates that I can do a lot of things, because you got me on a plane to go to Florida. I've never been to Florida. Like, what was my ass doing in Florida? In Jacksonville, like, visiting your cousin. Coolest shit, great time. Went through the swamp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hung out with Mandy and Ellen. Like, you know what I mean? It's just little things that like have gotten me past the doubts. But there's always going to be doubts when you don't know stuff. There's always going to be like, oh man, like what could I have done better? Like I think back, even like going to the cons in New York, right? Meeting, Lorena, J Rose, Taki or whatever it is. They're big names in the cosplay community, and I want to aspire to be like them, because I look up to them as like they're genuinely good people that just have a huge following. And my following could be 3 people and I'd be grateful for it. It could be a million people and I'm like, holy shit, what the heck? How did we get here? You know what I mean? And I mean, seeing my boy Taki like go from, almost 650,000 to a million this week, I was like, holy shit, that's cool. And I celebrated him because I was like, bro, like that just shows that like a regular ass person can just get to where he needs to get to. And that was his goal that he wanted to push for. And now he has other goals that he has in mind too. So
Well, something you highlighted that I think speaks volumes is I have not met them, but Lorena, Taki,
yeah,
they're kind.
correct.
And
Correct.
anybody who watches any of my content knows that the energy we exist in is the energy that we attract. And when we show up in kindness, we attract people because they know that there's no ulterior motive. But I also think that speaks to self-confidence, and that you really being able to say, listen, take me or leave me. I'm not here. I'm not going to get mad at you if you don't like me, but I'm also not going to change who I am because it makes you uncomfortable, which is something you experienced. I know that you were challenged at work for dyeing your hair different colors.
Yep. Yep. In the beginning. And then they realized that I was still doing the same amount of, if not better, with the hair dye. Because like the hair color is just a self-expression. It doesn't ever change the consistency I have as a person in general. So
yeah,
that debunked that ideology.
So what is two more questions?
Yeah.
What is one thing that you would like to leave the listening audience that you feel has been the best either piece of advice or like way in which you show up that has helped you become who you are today?
I think a word that I would probably utilize would be a word that you use a lot. Be authentic to yourself. You know what I mean? Like that within itself, like just be you. Just be you. At the end of the day, like that's all you know. Like you don't have like why go be somebody else when we're all wired so differently. There's no exact same person. So like being authentic to yourself and living your truths, as you also say, is like a huge thing. You know what I mean? Like I can't pretend to be you, babe, and you can't pretend to be me. You can rock the SpongeBob fit, but it's gonna be a different look. You know what I mean? Like, and I can rock the cool cut like yours and like the skulls and shit, but I can't do it just like you. You know what I mean? So I think my thing is like being authentic to yourself and let others know that like, hey, it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different because we're all wired differently. And the people that vibe with me, I am beyond humbly grateful for. And the people that don't, I understand we're just in different paths. That's really all in all.
I'm curious, what does authentic mean to you though? Because I feel like it's such a whitewashed word. I hear so many people say be authentic, and they're the least authentic people I know.
Authentic is waking up in the morning knowing that this shit is gonna be the same color, and I'm gonna just keep it simple. Authentic is enjoying the anime, watching the anime that I care about, things of that nature. Authentic is reaching out to someone when you feel like you haven't spoken to them and just saying hi. You know what I mean? Like I did that the other day. I just reached out to just a couple of my friends. I'm like, we haven't talked in months, but just know you crossed my mind. You know what I mean? Authentic is going to a birthday party and just being there because you want to show support to someone. Authentic is taking your significant other to dinner because you're just like, babe, like I'm hungry as fuck. You know what I mean? That's
well, I would say I would even. So my thing is, you and I post some wild crap.
Oh yeah, I mean to be fair, yes, very
being inspired in the moment and unafraid to lean into what inspires you. And what I mean by that is our creativity exists within spontaneity. And I see so many people get these insights and not take action because they get this inspired action and then they're like, oh my God, but people are going to judge me.
Yep.
Right?
It's so true.
Whereas you and me, we'll goof around and be like, oh my God, babe, let's do that. And we
that shit was funny as shit.
Yeah. And to me, it's hysterical. I totally agree. So then the last question, I realize you're humble. And
I appreciate you, yeah.
I'd like to believe that I'm humble as well, but I have really big goals for myself. You know my goals. Um,
Mhm.
like I know that, you enjoy just being invited to cosplays and cons
Yeah.
and stuff. But what are a couple of high overarching goals that you see yourself
Woo.
achieving? Because you and I are both strong manifestors. So whatever you really put your mind to, it will happen.
Mhm. I mean, one of my all-time goals really has always been like just to be financially free, like not worrying about bills and things of that nature, and also taking care of friends, family, people that bring me that sense of happiness to make sure that they're good. I mean, that's like one of my overarching goals is just to be like, okay, guys, like I can take you guys on a trip and not worry about like bills and stuff like that. Like I can buy my mom, her house that she's been trying to pay for or whatever it is. I can, you know, pay for my sister's school fees, or I can fund my brother's musical talents that he has. You know what I mean? Or even vice versa. Say like I can be like, babe, we're just gonna just go buy this house. You know what I mean? Like that's really my thing is I've always loved the idea of like just walking into somewhere and be like, I'm not worried about, oh my gosh, when my next paycheck's gonna be. You know what I mean? Or like I don't want to be thinking about living the whole paycheck to paycheck thing because that shit's scary. Like that shit is it's tough and it's I mean, you just never know. But my thing, overarching wise, would definitely be like the financial freedom and just having the sense of joy and peace of like doing shit that I want to enjoy. If I want to go to a con in fucking New York and I already have the funds, let's do this shit. I mean, in my thought process, I'm already planning for New York anyways this year, and we're definitely going there. So just put that in your calendar. I already got the dates already marked up.
I have no doubt. Any other goals?
um, I mean, there's this beautiful lady that's interviewing me right now that like she definitely has my heart, and I know that she wants me to put a little thingamajigger.
Oh my, that was not a setup,
Yeah,
babe. I
just
promise.
say this
Oh,
is
listen,
we got.
you
I just say, look at your ass turn red real quick.
well, yeah, because
Nah, you good, you good. But just
that would have to be a goal you
uh,
want for
oh yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
No,
No, don't worry about it. You good, you good.
you know, uh, I guess I can't help it as Nana's partner in
Yeah,
crime and somebody who sees the beauty of you. My goal for you
yeah.
is to continue to inspire children
Mm,
to
mm.
do, modeling, which I've seen you
Ooh,
really thrive in taking pictures and doing different fits. You
yeah.
love I mean, you're a hype man for sure. So
Appreciate
for
you.
me, I guess my goals or my hopes for the person I love is to dream bigger, man, because
Mm,
the universe is the limit, right? And I
yeah,
truly
yeah,
believe that we're worthy of achieving the biggest, the greatest
yeah,
goals, right?
yeah. Damn.
So, yeah, I love that. And something I want to highlight, guys, why did I decide to interview Nana, especially, well, one, obviously, he is truly and utterly my person, the first person who's ever known me
Appreciate you.
to my fullest expression, vulnerabilities, everything, every insecurity, every fear. But Nana has always taken care of his family.
Mm,
Like from the moment that I met him, I knew that he was going to show up his love for anybody. And I'm not just talking about family blood, but he does take care of them because he loves them immensely. I'm talking about anybody that he creates a bond with. He's going to show up and support them in any way he can,
right,
whether it's
right.
giving over a deal at the dealership to somebody who's struggling for the month to make sure that they build some energetic momentum,
Yep,
whether it's taking somebody from the dealership who's struggling with challenges to the gym and teaching them how to work out,
yep,
to picking up our nephew when he needs a little pep in his step from getting
okay.
challenging news. And I think that is the gift you give to the world, is that you really do show up through
Appreciate
the
it.
lens of
Appreciate
love.
it.
And
Appreciate it.
that reflects in your cosplay because, again, circling back and why I wanted to
Yeah.
highlight you as a cosplayer, um is that it takes an exorbitant amount of self-love to
Mm,
be able to step out of a con setting
yeah,
where you're within a community of people who are like you and go into a restaurant or pick me up for a date or go to a Patriots game dressed as that con player and show up and inspire
yeah,
and bring people joy.
yeah. It's. I mean, ultimately, it's just something that I've found a sense of happiness um, in cosplaying wise, and I've formed so many different bonds. Like I've met people from different states, like New York. I've met people from Texas, met people from California, met people from freaking Idaho. I'm like, I don't know anybody in Idaho except for freaking Idaho potatoes. Let's be honest. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
So
I
like,
think the beauty of the con
yeah,
or cosplay is that it breaks barriers that otherwise are illusionary but exist in a
yeah,
lot of people's minds,
true,
right?
true. And I always tell people like, I tell people go to a con one time, right? You watch TV shows, you watch these things. Just go to a con one time, just experience what it's about. You may like it, you may not. There will be overcrowdedness depending on what days you go to and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, like get it out of your system and just see what it's about. You either like it or you don't, and that's okay. So like my thing is like experience the con atmosphere because it's something that truly brings me a sense of passion. I realize the older I get because I'm doing things that I didn't do when I was younger, right? So now I'm thankfully in a financial situation that I can be able to allot these things to reset my energy and bring that sense of joy to me too. And I think even that's transpired with this work, you know, during this month because I had the Rhode Island Comic Con early in the beginning of the month that I was like, oh man, I'm looking forward to. And then that set my month of work wise to be like, okay, I got my awesome excitement out of the way. And now I can kind of focus on setting up myself for the rest of the, year until the next con comes up. So yeah,
I love that.
I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching this
Thank you guys
unexpected
so much.
live edition of What's Your Story with Nana Ajman, aka SpongeBob, aka hashtag Ask for Nana.
Woo-hoo!
If you're catching this on the replay on Nana's feed, make sure you reach out and give him
Say hi.
some love, share some comments, give some thoughts. We're always happy to receive them. And if you want us to jump on and do another live together, let us know and we'll have a big old party. Until then, make sure that you guys, if nothing else, give yourself permission, or I at least encourage. I don't want to tell you what to do, but I encourage you to give yourself permission to try something you've wanted to try, even if it feels scary,
Mhm.
and to make sure to laugh at yourself because life can be really, really hard when you lose laughter. So until next time, guys, it's Kerry and Nana, and we will check you on the flip
What
side.
about those